It's time to gather together. Hi there, I'm Yelta, and I'll be buying the first round while we chat about Final Fantasy XIV. This is episode 166. Pull up a chair and join us. On the menu tonight, the Callback Campaign ends on June 3rd. New optional items available. The Feast Season 13 results are in. The Feast PvP Team Season underway. Make It Rain campaign begins on June 6th. The Shadowbringers Media Tour NDA has been lifted. Yay! A reminder about the Moogle Treasure Trove event. Developers blog, fan mail, fan tweets. But first, let's shoot the shit. What has been going on this week? Hey, Ruby.
Hi, Yelta.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going well. Great week. The NDA was lifted.
How many hours did you stare at your tablet at work? And
okay, so I was a bad employee. Don't tell my boss. I went to work. I first went to the restroom, sat on the commode and looked at my phone to see how much I could get. And then I was like, this ain't working. I was trying to load up slides, little bullet points with all the slideshow and all the images of the abilities and such. And it was 4G. It was running too slow on the shitter. I had to get up. Way to go.
The signal in the shitter is too bad.
Yeah, it's terrible. So went to my office and I was like, I'm going to work today. But I didn't have any projects. I didn't have anything. So it was like, sat at the round table, said, this is what I'm going to do today. And I made a couple of emails and then slowly went over to Reddit. And oh my God, the whole day, Yelta, I'm just terrible. The whole damn day I watched videos and read things. And thank you to many of the influencers and news outlets that went, because they made 10 to 15 minute videos. But y'all motherfuckers that were making 2-hour videos.
No one got time for that.
It's a long investment
on my cell
to
phone.
sit. I mean, yeah, on my cell phone, on the shitter. That is a long investment. We will talk about many of these. There's so many, we can't talk about them all tonight, but we've got some resources that we'll share tonight. So we definitely won't keep you 2 hours on the shitter. We might, but no longer than 2 hours. As far as the stuff in game, it's just the same old, Yelta. It's experts. I did an Orban. I'm still trying to get those shoes for range, and I can't get them for whatever reason. And now I'm just slotting on healer stuff. If I can get head, hands, and feet, I'll slide into Shadowbringers pretty easily. So there's not really any goals. I guess, spend my scripts and just kind of get ready, as far as inventory and, be sure to move your pictures out of your picture folder. It's that kind of stuff. I'm in countdown mode for Shadowbringers. So nothing really that special. There are things I guess I could be doing, but I think there is a subconscious effort on my part to not burn out just before. I want to keep a big hunger going. There's some things that I could be doing. There's some things I want to do now that I think, well, I can do them when Shadowbringers starts, and it might be a better experience, like leveling up some stuff if trusts are involved or something to that effect. So yeah, there's things that I want to do. There's definitely things to do. In fact, Yoshida-san is giving us more things to do in the gap. So much for the vast wasteland this go around. Did they figure it out? That's yet to be seen. But again, there's no lack of things to do. It's just, do I really want to go balls to the wall or keep a steady schedule before I know that I'm going to binge on Shadowbringers? There's just going to be some long, stinky days.
This ain't our first rodeo. We know what it's going to be like.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I took time off work, man. I'm going to be home.
Get the Hot Pockets ready. Where's my Mountain Dew? It's that kind of atmosphere, and I can't wait. I don't know how that's going to be with my son running around. I think it's getting better, though. Yelta, you and I talk about this usually before and after the podcast. We talk about our personal lives, like right after. like, how's the kids? How's everything? And I'm usually like, it's getting better, Yelta. It's getting better. He's sleeping longer. There's perks to him getting older. So my son Alexander, as he gets older, frees us up a little bit. Mama Cinna still has a lot of mamaing to do, but it does give us gaps whenever he's able to sit on the floor with a toy car and drive it back and forth for 15 to 20 minutes without screaming for something, because that's an Overwatch match or that's an expert quest that maybe couldn't have been done a couple months back. So we will see as Shadowbringers comes in about a month how much more time my son will give us. And I don't know, Yelta, that Eden looking good.
Yeah, well, we don't know what it is yet.
We don't know exactly what it is yet, but we got some changes to raids that make me want to put my hat back into the ring and to really push these new abilities to the nth degree, push them to the limit. Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about the rest of this stuff. Yelta, tell us what you did this past week.
I played other games.
Oh boy.
No, I did log in and get a couple levels on Ninja. I think I was 66, now I'm 68. I made myself go to bed. I think I have a job quest to do, but it's getting there. That would leave just Dragoon. Then I think it's at 52 or something. So and then I spent some time sorting my gear in my armory chest, right? I don't need... All of my stuff is above 50, and I only have, 2 jobs that aren't 70, so I've been, like, sorting and tossing and sorting and tossing and turning stuff in, and just trying to do some housekeeping, right? Because we're going to be leveling, and you don't want to be, like, receiving your coffer, opening it up, and, well, you can't even equip it because your armory chest is full. So go through and throw away some of that old shit on your retainers and or sell it or whatever, because if it's easy to get again, there's no reason to keep it. It's my personal thing. If it's a beautiful piece of gear, put it in your glamour dresser if you've got room in that sucker.
Well, we're going to get some more room, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Have you seen the threads or the Reddit posts, if you will, about those that had run like Uwu or some extreme ultimate content, and then their inventory was full and the token drops and they can't obtain it?
Oh no, that would be awful.
Yeah.
Oh, my husband's inventory gives me he's like, wait, I have to get rid of some stuff to receive a drop in a dungeon, and I'm like, no. You need to throw that. I usually have
discard sea pickle.
Oh my god, I have at least one full. When I start playing for the day, I at least have one of those whole squares in your menu. I have the big 4 square menu. One of those has to be empty. What is that? 50 items, or I don't remember what it is. But I cannot be going and doing anything and getting warnings that you have 4 open slots left. You have 3 open.
It's terrible.
No. Won't do it. And then, I also tried to... I pulled up some of Sly's docs and slides and was reviewing those. I did a lot of... I can get to Reddit from work, but I couldn't, watch any of the videos or look at any of the pictures because that's all blocked. But I'm, reading through the Reddit thread. I'm over on Shitpost, too. And there's a lot of healer mains. There's a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth and being unsure, we'll cover that. But so I was really only getting the comments that people were. I didn't have any of the news for most of the day. And I tried to go home and watch a couple. I watched some of the worked game videos. I don't remember what else. I watched a couple of videos. Again, some of those were long. I need bite size. I prefer text. Personally, we were discussing before this. I like videos, but the videos have to be short and to the point. And, but you start getting past 10 minutes, you're going to lose me. You have to make your point by then. But that's just my attention span. If I want to study something and learn something, it has to be text. And so I was digging around. I did read a few Gamerscape. had some good articles, and there's a lot of interviews all over the place. But I think I probably read more people's comments in response to all this news dump than I have the news dump. So I'm going to be turning the microphone over to Ruby a bit tonight, more than usual, because I didn't get all of it. And I really dwelled on the stuff like the White Mage changes, like dwelling in the White Mage changes and stuff. So that was my week. I do think we got some plans to do some stuff in game over the weekend. Some people in Nofika's Bosom and in the Crossworld Link Shell. I think but people still bird farming, pony farming, doggo farming. So yep. I have one left. I need to put my big girl pants on and go and get a Suzaku group. But I'm so fail at that fight. I don't want to get kicked. Oh,
Suzaku's left for you. Yeah, I've got a bunch of them left. But I mean, a lot of mine are kind of easy ones. Like I still need a Byakko. I still need, I still need Sarayu. I need, oh gosh, I need a bunch. How about that? I need a lot.
Need a bunch. I'd like my final doggo, but I mean, I don't even like the model, but I want to do it for completionist's sake.
Yeah.
I know I could wait till Shadowbringers and go back and do it then at a level 80 or whatever, but that's boring to me.
Oh, I thought about today the ease of soloing some of those Heavensward fights when we're level 80 on our jobs. I mean, you're going to be able to go in and solo. You might be able to now, Bismarck or Ravana. But, those challenges to try to beat Sephiroth and things of that nature, if that's even doable. I guess at some point they're going to, if there's any insta-death mechanics, they would need to nerf those too if they add Blue Mage and so on and so forth. But anyway, just the kind of fun of the new stuff that'll be unlocked for a new expansion, just because we'll be able to go back and trash some stuff. And then with the new abilities, I mean, it might be
it can
really
be very
boss.
Or incredibly boring.
True.
All right, listeners, you can shoot the shit with us. Go to the website, www.gtffxiv.com. Let us know what you've been up to. The first round is news. The Callback Campaign, that is ending on June 3rd. That's the one where you can invite your friend to come back. You get some prizes. They get some prizes. I think it's Chocobo Feathers. That's ending probably by the time you listen to this, but... new optional items are available. Woo! The Mog Station gave us a flying carpet and then the Far Eastern schoolboys attire and schoolgirls attire. They actually did make the mount account wide for $24. That's something, I guess. And then each of these sets of clothing is $18, and I think that's one character. So the girl one dyes pretty nicely. The body piece dyes very cute. The stuff that's red in that photo dyes purple in my case, and the hair bow is adorable.
Does it keep the pattern?
Yeah.
The males does not.
Doesn't it? The female still gets the little arrow fletching pattern stays on there.
The males removes the stripes, is my understanding.
Oh no. I haven't seen the male's one. I've only seen the female one. Oh, and the hair bow is really cute because the little flowers on the side actually wiggle when you walk. I don't know why, but I like that. It looks really nice on my ponytail.
Wiggle when you walk, baby.
Wiggle when you walk.
I also like this flying carpet just in time for the Aladdin movie. This came out.
Have you already seen the dyed... the people who've made themselves blue and look like a genie?
I think I've seen this screenshot, and kudos. Better than Will Smith.
Well, and the flying carpet has some neat designs on it. There's a Moogle on it. There's Namazu. There's Piazza on the carpet.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Mandragora.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty nice looking. I'm very sad. I really, really, really was hoping it was going to be added as part of the not Deep Dungeon, treasure maps. I was really, because it would have fit, because some of those rooms on the earlier versions even had carpets on the ground, right?
Sure.
And you're going treasure hunting.
Sure. It's kind of the Aladdin thing. And
right?
it's probably Thavnarian. It's got that
Mm-hmm.
Persian kind of thing going. Yeah.
Persian thing. Yeah. I don't know. But those are available now on the Mog Station. All right, the Feast Season 13 results, those are in. And, yay. I don't know.
Did you win, Yelta?
No, I didn't. I didn't PvP in this whole last month.
Another season that you
I know.
missed out.
I see Rum Raisin. That name's on there before.
I'm going to Primal. Let's see.
I have to click Primal. I'm not dissing anybody else, but I can't.
I had heard that this was one of the busier or the most busy feast seasons that there's been. A lot of people jumped on board. Maybe because of the Garo event ending, but a lot more people have jumped on board PvP as of late.
Somebody's name is Murphy's Law. That's great.
Wow.
So congratulations to the winners, and I hope you enjoy your prizes. The Feast PvP team season is underway. This is the one where you have to actually create a team. I don't know. If you rank 20 or above, you get special rewards. So, looks like the rewards are planned to be sent after Tuesday, July 2nd. So, very cool. Do they get anything cool? Oh, they get
this
a furnishing, and they get this. Oh, the armor is pretty cool looking. It's kind of badass. Kind of looks Garlean.
Yeah, I get a Judge feel out of it.
Yeah.
I bet that looks sweet and black.
All right, and we kept asking each other, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? They are doing the Make It Rain campaign again.
Oh my God, yes.
This bad boy starts June 6th, so let's see. The rewards for all attractions at the Gold Saucer, including gates, minigames, Cacbot, have been increased by 50%. In addition, furnishings such as the Monster Toss machine, Crystal Tower Striker, and Kuffaker machine are available for discounted MGP prices. They have a range of items from previous years. So I think probably just kind of I bet it's kind of a recycly event. It looks like we are getting a new emote out of it. Mm-hmm. Senor Sabotander and an MGP gold card. So you can get 30,000 MGP. So, if you do that and then stack it with your free company buff, it might be a good way to get yourself some MGP. Not all of us have all those expensive things yet.
Yeah, no doubt. Mm-hmm. I think this is going to be a poo-poo kind of event, meaning it's not going to have an in-depth story. It's not going to be thrilling. I think it's talk to an NPC, talk to another one, see a cutscene, talk to another NPC, talk to the final NPC, and be done with it. Haven't we seen the origin? Not maybe the origin, but haven't we seen what's inside Senor Sabotender before?
Well, we know it's a Lalafell.
Yeah.
It was the murder mystery one, yeah. I don't remember if we actually saw the dude or not. Because one year it was a really cool murder mystery, and you could there was several paths in the story. Right. You could actually do it over again. I think one year it was a Moogle. Last year's wasn't it like a Moogle's love affair date thing? Yeah.
Go on the date. Be invisible or something. Go on the date. Yeah, so I don't think this one's going to be terribly in-depth, but it's at least it's a neat theme. I'm glad it's back. Glad we're getting a new emote. I have seen people saying this better have you spin around like a Sabotender. This is going to be Senior Sabotender's emote when he stops and he does that emote. That's all it's going to be, I would think. Mm-hmm. We'll see what we get. And then, this was funny, somebody was talking about this recently, about a game room, and it says, the Crystal Tower, Striker, Monster Toss machine, and Cuff a Curl machines furnishings may be purchased at a reduced MGP cost from the seasonal shop. I think we had just said, wait for Make It Rain if it comes back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ulf has all of these in his basement at his house.
Cool.
He's got all three of those machines. He's got a little game room down there, so... Oh, which reminds me, Brock keeps saying, Yelta, come see the basement of the house, his house, and I keep forgetting. He's got a really... Have you been to Brock's house? He's got a really awesome bar upstairs. Apparently now he's finished the basement, so...
Well, I need to go to the basement.
You need to go to the basement. I'm actually a little bit scared I'm going to find there, because I've...
Come to my basement, Yelta.
That's right. Luring Lalafell into the basement.
Pee-wee's bike is the basement of the Alamo.
Oh my god.
3 people laughed at that.
That's going back. We are dating ourselves.
Tell them Large Marge sent you.
Okay, you made me snort out loud during the podcast. Excellent. All right, let's move on to the reason anyone's listening. They want to hear us rant or praise or...
Why mages shit and scholars shit and astrologians shit.
RIP healers. Tanks are all easy mode now.
Mm-hmm.
They're all the same thing, different skin. Oh, anyway,
what else you want to hear?
Big news. All right. The big news is, of course, the Shadowbringers Media Tour NDA has been lifted. All of the content creators who got to go play the game, they got to run dungeons, they got to play as different jobs, they got to do interviews, they got to see everything. They got to see all sorts of stuff. I think there was a lot of stuff that was like NPCs. Some of them had their names taken off and stuff. I think like not to spoil stuff, right? You know, I saw like the map of one of the areas, but I don't think everything was marked, that kind of thing. So, so we're just going to start with the Shadowbringers preview event. That is a Reddit thread, and Zeno put that up. And let's see. It's the hands-on preview of Shadowbringers. I don't even know where we want to... Okay, we'll just give the overarching stuff. They had access to 3 zones, the Crissarium, Lakeland, and Ilmeg, and 1 dungeon, Donmeg. They had all of the crafters and gatherers and Blue Mage were disabled, and they could not access the market board or retainers. They didn't tell us anything about Near Raid or Eden or any other trials, so that's... It was limited, which is good because, man, we want some surprises, right?
Sure.
All the NPCs had placeholder dialogue. A lot of them didn't have names, like I was saying. This person who writes this up, Olivine Peridot, their goal was to record video of all the tooltips, record additional footage of job skill videos, blah, blah, blah. So they lost a lot of their footage. I felt so bad when I read that.
Mm-hmm.
They mainly tried Gunbreaker, Dancer, Monk. Now, all these people who wrote stuff up kind of focused. Some played every job, some played like just kind of their main or whatever. So, things that were interesting was the main city, Crissarium, is massive. So, and the Ethernet was disabled, so they had to run everywhere. They just talked about a lot of stuff. So a lot of people have said how awesome they had, like huge libraries and gardens. And they have odd dark griffin-like mounts. We've seen those now in the benchmark.
I like that they said alongside Chocobo.
Alongside Chocobos,
so there are Chocobo on the first shard. Okay.
They also mentioned that the city is 1 zone like Kugane, but has the feeling of height to it more like Ishgard, and thematically reminds most of Idleshire. So in the sense of a melting pot of adventurers coming together and building a new home.
I like that.
Yeah, because we've had some very, like, Ishgard was very Ishgardian. Yeah, I know what I mean.
Sure.
Idleshire was more like adventurers and stuff. Ishgard was like more, they'd been there for 1,000 years and whatever. No one was moving there. Mm-hmm. And then in Stormblood we had, Asian land and refugee land. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, what I like about each of these cities, I was hoping it would be something like this where the best parts of each city. Kugane is 1 zone. I love Ishgard for how grandiose and detailed it is, but the 2 zones is like, this place is too motherfucking big. Kugane's not that big, and it's detailed, but it feels living, but Idleshire feels like it's alive. Like there's shit moving. We watched it grow. And then it was sad to move away from Idleshire because we seemed to put so much work into this building this place. and then we leave it behind. So I want a place that I feel like I'm building. It feels alive. It's detailed, but I'm not lost in it because it's too big. I think we're getting
Railgar's
that.
Reach failed for that for me. It should have been...
It's ugly.
It should have felt like Idleshire. It should have felt like we really made massive... But we ended up rebuilding the other place that just...
It feels dead. It doesn't look like it's growing. And there's huge swaths of it that you don't go to. There's areas that's just stupid. Why is it even in this zone? There's no purpose.
All right. And they mentioned that there were Almaja NPCs scattered around the town, mostly trading or working in the gardens. One of them was named, and he had a name. They were the only, and in quotes, beast tribe they noticed in the city. So, and then this isn't the only person who said it. They kind of suspect that the idea of beast tribes really might not even exist on the first.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So they didn't see any Lalas in town at all. Every other playable race was there, including a handful of Hir, Elas, and Ara children. I don't know. There was an Allagan node NPC in the crafting area. I thought that was interesting because was it a placeholder? Did it mean something? Or were Allagan nodes... Because the lore here was it 12,000 years ago?
Right.
It got split. So really, these are different worlds, have basically evolved differently. And I didn't think we thought that the Allagans were around at the time of the split. So did the Allagans travel there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No.
How is there a crystal tower on both? Our shard and theirs. And does that mean there's a crystal tower on every one of them? How far has Allagan technology gone?
The writer of this is guessing that it belongs to Rowena and will be used to submit items back to her. Lakeland gives off a Garabanya vibe due to it being arid and having lots of military camps and stuff. She talks a bunch about the map and stuff.
We watched a bit of this on a Miztech video, Cinna and I, and she immediately, upon seeing Lakeland and listening to the music, said, "This reminds me of Final Fantasy XI," and it just has that that vibe because of the. I guess armaments. I don't know what you would call them, but when you have those little blockades of wooden pikes that are crisscrossed against each other, you'll see these on the field, and it gives you the feel of Ronfaur, that area up north,
outside Sandoria.
Sandoria, correct, where the orcs are, and just a lot of 11 vibes, which is a happy thing for me.
They also noted in Lakeland there's a large mossy foliage covered island marked on the map as the source in the center of the lake. And there appears to be a sleeping creature. It somewhat reminded them of Bismarck. So maybe a primal or a world fate. So that's cool. And Lakeland has zone lines to the Crystalium, Ilmeg, the Raktika Greatwood, and Arag. Thanks, guys, making me pronounce this stuff. Ilmeg only has zone lines back to Lakeland. Well, we also don't know if there's zone lines we're not seeing. This was an early. Ilmeg has the entrance to the dungeon, Donmeg, as well as what looks like a beast tribe camp for the pixies. The documentation mentions 5 zones. They were only given access to 2. They didn't see any hints of any zones not mentioned in the documentation. Both Heavensward and Stormblood gave us 6 new zones. Total speculation time. We're certainly getting a 6th open world zone, and it could fill the role of Shadowbringers Azazla, but they have no idea what it would be based on. So, because I remember playing Heavensward, and Azazla being in a whole zone just took me by surprise, really. So maybe they're holding out a whole zone for us.
Be cool.
It would suck to get less, because I know that we felt like that with Stormblood. A lot of times we felt like we were getting less. Mm-hmm. So, all right, the dungeon, Donmeg, is level 73 and is tied to the main scenario. The plot involves the Scions traversing the dungeon as a trial to win the Shell Crown, one of the 4 Fey relics, from frog creatures called the Footh. So the Dapper Violin Frog you see in the benchmark is the final boss of this dungeon. So, anyway, there's story around there. It's very pretty, has lots of visual effects. We'll talk about this some more in a different interview where they go over trust characters, but you can choose trust characters for this dungeon, and you can choose from Alphinaud, Alizé, Minfilia, and Thancred. Alphinaud's a scholar, Alizé's a red mage, Minfilia's a rogue, and Thancred's a gunbreaker. Oh, and Urianger, astrologian. So you get to build your party.
Mm-hmm. I heard that they're not stupid.
I heard that somebody said it was really slow doing a dungeon with them versus real people, but I'm fine with that.
Yeah, they're like bad DPS. They'll do the job, but they're not hitting everything on the GCD in a timely manner.
And Yoshi P informed them that in the interview that the trust characters available for dungeons are directly tied to the main scenario. He also implied that the lineup of trust characters for this dungeon may differ between the demo they played and the final version. So upon defeating the boss, all the available trust characters ran in and posed with you during the victory screen. So that's cool. All right. Oh, and this is neat. Trust characters have unique dialogue and interactions with each other in the dungeon and mechanics within the dungeon. So, for example, the final boss fight has a balance beam mechanic where you have to run across a narrow bent beam before time runs out. Some trust characters would just cross the beam quickly, while others would hesitate. Minfilia walked slowly and carefully, while Urianger just teleported across the gap like a legend.
I love it.
I like it. I hope it's not too hard to get across a beam, because I can barely walk in a straight line.
So I thought about you when I saw this.
Did you think about me? You're like, ooh,
I thought
Yelta's
going to hate this. It is a very skinny blue beam across a gap, and it's not a straight line. It's a zigzag, and it doesn't look fun. I hope the fact that Urianger could teleport across, maybe. Well, you'd have to play Black Mage to port yourself. You'd have to not play healer for somebody to rescue you across.
That's exactly what I thought. I'm like, well, maybe someone could rescue me. Oh, wait, I mean White Mage.
So you better get them wings out and fly, bitch.
Wouldn't that be funny? No, where's our float spell? Can I
there you
float?
Go. Yoshida.
Maybe. Yeah, Yoshida.
Fix this shit.
Make it so. All right. They gave the name for all of the gear names for lore. I'm not going to read them.
Pronounce them all, Yelta.
Oh my God, Ruby. You know that's exactly.
I set you up. I wanted Yelta to read all of these. I can read Bards, Fail Not.
Fail Not. Mm-hmm. Oh my. So I can read Soothsayers gear.
That's good.
That's the astrologian. What's the White Mage one? Oh, Christ. Never mind. Never mind.
Christia. I don't know. These are all previewable. At the end of all of this, we'll repeat this again, but we'll get you links to all the links for these. But that many of the influencers had taken individual videos of these. Miztex is really good. If you want to watch her video, it shows all the AF gear back to back, has them spinning around, and you can check all this out.
Other details, 15 glamour plates total, which made a lot of people kind of happy, but how many do we have now? 10? Mm-hmm. 8? I don't remember. But just 15 still doesn't feel very like... And it's still not one for every job. And I'm not even talking crafting and gathering jobs, right?
Right.
So, 8 Crossroad link shells. I haven't seen any news on if they're still, 64 members only?
Right.
You can find the written language Norvorant in the zone maps and stuff, and a few of the generic no-entry doors. It's a substitution cipher similar to Eorzean and should be extremely easy to translate. So that's nice that they wrote another language, because really, written language probably evolves separately.
True.
This is also why I don't think we're getting Harashivant. It's not just been split 20 years ago. It was split 12,000 years ago.
No, we're getting on Chiffon. He's going to be a trust.
Hunts are still around, and the command/delete Sam does not exist.
Okay.
All right, their general impression of the build was positive. They said it feels like a realm reborn. We're fresh faces in a new world again. The old zones have been reimagined and improved on, and the Scions actually tag along and act useful now. They were constantly on the lookout for familiar things and looking forward to it, blah, blah, blah. And this next part interests me too. I also can't wait to see how the Scions interact with you throughout the main scenario. Will it be like our adventures in Heavensward, or more like a traditional Final Fantasy party? See, Heavensward I kind of liked, when you were out with, what's her name? Iceheart and Estinian, and you were camping and stuff. I liked a lot of those cutscenes, and it kind of felt like you were on an adventure together. Their only disappointment was the character creation. Viera is what everyone expected from Final Fantasy XII, while Hrothgar is interesting and varied, but it doesn't feel like they've given us enough options to make up for the limitations in visible equipment. Extremely disappointed that most of the AF headgear wasn't visible, since iconic job gear should have been top priority fitting. But they're freaking looking forward to it. So... Yeah, I agree. I really think if you're gonna fix any headgear, your iconic AF headgear maybe, but they said they're gonna keep working on that, right?
Yeah, I watched them do some of the Viera stuff, and it seemed like it was this generic black lacy headpiece that was on each. I wasn't quite sure that if on Summoner it had the dong on it or not, and then it just was the black generic regardless. But I get that, because when you're making a Viera, you got two hairstyles. Well, I don't know about the Viera. Viera has a lot of hairstyles. It's Hrothgar that had 2 hairstyles per face.
4 faces, 2 hairstyles, right?
Exactly. So if you can't do the head pieces, then why not give us more hairstyles, more variety in that department? So anyway,
well, we also don't know, because also in the benchmark though, well, they weren't using the benchmark, but in the benchmark, I didn't have access to any hairstyles that I'd earned in the game or bought from the Mog Station.
Sure.
So maybe some of those hairstyles... I think when the game comes out, we're going to all have to calmly go to the forums and request the specific items we would like to see them work on next. They've asked us to do that before. So if you think that, the Scholar mortarboard hat really needs to be, or the Summoner horn needs to be worn... Put it out there, but don't scream and rant about, hey, fuck, can't I have whatever? So
5.4 is going to be great. You get all the stuff. You get all the stuff that you want.
Oh my god! All right, so that was the preview event. There is a lot more. We'll put this link, but oops, I now have a service unavailable, so that's super useful.
That's great.
Reddit's crapping its pants right now, so we're gonna move on.
Well, thankfully, we're going to Gamerscape. I have that one up. So Gamerscape, Fusion X's stuff was some of the first stuff I read, honestly. Part of that's because it displayed nicely on my cell phone. But he's got a Shadowbringers Media Tour overview. And let's see. He's got an interview. He's got exploring the areas, a hands-on with trusts. What did we really want to cover here? Do we want to talk first, we didn't talk about this last week at all, and I want to bring this up because he has it on the screen here. Is this opening cinematic, the opening picture, if you will, for when you get into Shadowbringers, and this Gregorian chant-like music? Yelta, yay, nay? How are you feeling about?
I'm not sure I need that in my opening screen. I don't like it. I think the screenshot's ugly. They gave us the piss pools of Aram Vale. No, really, I don't think it's attractive. I do not like the picture. Let me listen to a couple more seconds of the chanting. I like that kind of chanting. Well, you hit start pretty fucking fast usually anyway, so.
Yeah.
It's not Heavensward, which is what I would have liked. Honestly, I don't even like the Shadowbringers logo. I don't even like the picture of the Dark Knight.
Really?
No.
I actually like the Shadowbringers logo, and I liked this scene when it was in the opening cinematic, when the Warrior of Darkness slashes down toward the Crystal Tower, and it makes this kind of trail. But I don't quite like it here. It looked cooler in that cinematic. Here it looks like Moses holding back the Red Sea, except it's the Piss Sea.
Real piss pools, yeah.
Yeah.
That triple at the top.
Yeah, I don't know what it's going with, unless, like, if you beat it, then the Crystal Tower appears in the background, which might fix it a little bit. I don't know.
Honestly, I don't like it. I'm not a fan.
And the Gregorian chant thing, I'm like, yeah, I guess. There was I think a Chinese fan made one, and it was this blue shattered glass background, and it had the crystal theme, but it was like a operatic falsetto kind of high voice sort of thing. Anyway, I thought it looked better than this, so that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think I had seen I'd been pointed to a fan made one, and I'm like, that was much better.
I think if these piss pools were purple, I think I would like it better.
Honestly, that might have improved the whole thing. I think because purple was a very prominent color in Shadowbringers, at least that one zone. I really missed the Heavensward one, which was just kind of that fuzzy snow coming down. I should take a picture of it from my other account.
That theme was spooky, though. It was a little, like, I had it as my cell phone ring, and it would give me chills whenever my phone would ring. It's like, ugh. I don't want to answer that call.
Yeah, but I don't want to hear this when my phone rings either.
Well, hell no.
See? I don't know. I'm not a fan, and if anybody knows how to hack the file so I can have a different one back,
they need to be able to let you change the opening.
That would be kind of cool. And somebody mentioned it in Final Fantasy XI. You could actually play online what music to play when you're coming in, or you could pick in the game. You could pick what menu music you get.
Yeah, totally.
My body's ready for that. And again, I hit start so fucking fast when I play this game anyway, it doesn't really matter. But
11's only like 12, 13 years old, so.
Well, yeah.
You can't rush a good thing, Gotta give Yoshida time to figure this out.
Oh, no, I can't possibly take anything some of us thought was neat. But,
yeah.
No, I hate to diss on anything, but yeah, I'm not a fan of the opening screen.
Okay. I will move on from that now. I think the thing we really cared about to talk about here were the jobs and their roles. And what Yelta and I have decided is we don't have the energy nor the time to talk about like 18 different jobs individually.
Well, and listeners aren't going to want to listen to the jobs they don't care about.
And that takes away from all these great content creators and influencers that Square Enix flew out to do this, so you can go read and watch their previews. But we do want to talk about our favorites.
Yeah, we don't make you hungry to go look for more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then we do want to talk about the roles in general. So let's just start from the left, move right. Let's talk about tanks. We can pick one that we care about or not. Probably Paladin. But going into this, and again, this is through Gamer Escape. You can look at this up yourself. But just to talk about the role actions, because I think it's important that we frame how the role actions have changed before going into individual job specifics. Tank role actions, the role actions in Shadowbringers will no longer be selectable, so you're going to get them as you level. Once players obtain the level of the role action, it's automatically unlocked. Depending on the role, players will have a different number of actions available to them. So talking about tank, here's what you get to keep. So you can assume everything else is gone. You're keeping Rampart, Interject, Shirk, Low Blow, Reprisal, Provoke, and you're getting Arm's Length.
Good.
And there are some changes, like Provoke had the change where you're gaining the additional enmity out of it, so like the way people thought Provoke worked, but that's not how it actually worked.
No, Provoke was just whoever has the highest threat +1.
So now it's actually going to do what people thought it did that didn't understand how Provoke worked. So yeah, thoughts about the role in general? I'm
glad they kept Shirk. I think that we've kind of learned how to use that.
Yeah.
I think it allows, I'm talking on my ass, but I feel like it lets you do tank swaps. It lets you, do some different things. Interject and Low Blow, they're both interrupts, but one's a stun. The other one just says interrupts. So I'm not sure, the difference there.
I'm not sure if stuns count as interrupts, because interrupt has basically taken over silence. You're not going to see silence in anything anymore. You're seeing interrupt. But you're not seeing jobs have a silence and a stun for the most part. Although tanks, I guess technically here, have them. My question is, does a stun also interrupt? Will my Holy on White Mage also have the interrupt effect that they said would be on tanks and ranged DPS going forward? So that's, to me, that's a little fuzzy. We'll find out more as we go.
Yeah, how Rampart's actually one button I know to push when I'm a tank. Ooh, I'm taking some hits. Let me hit Rampart. I also hit that other one that lets the healer heal me up better. I don't even remember the name of that. I'm glad they're getting arm's length. Yeah, it's gone. I'm glad they're getting arm's length. I feel like everybody should have some sort of... that's the barrier nullifying knockback and draw-in effects. Now, Paladins had an effect that already did that, but it was a different skill. So now they just kind of made it so everybody gets this.
Yeah, Tempered Will is gone.
Yeah, Tempered Will is gone. The additional effect is slow 20% when the barrier is struck. So is that it slows the other guys?
Yeah, it slows the enemy when it's hit. Whether that works on big bosses or not,
Yeah.
I don't know if they're getting better about debuffs working on bosses in Shadowbringers because there's a simplified, maybe not as many being thrown out there. I don't know.
Well, and Reprisals just lowers lowers target's damage dealt by 10%. That's pretty much what I did before, right? I know I used Rampart a lot. I know I used the one that looks shieldy. I don't know the names of any of my fucking tank abilities, but
there was the blue shieldy thing, but that's gone.
Shieldy thing.
There was a lot.
I literally don't know the names of any of my tank abilities.
I don't either, and that's which is funny. I picked Paladin because I believe I think you have them all to 70, but but Paladin was your first. And,
because it was supposed to be the easiest, and it is pretty easy. And
Paladin is my only higher level tank, which it's only 60, but at least it's it's up there. So know a little bit, and I know it was very bloated. My hotbar was extremely bloated. Tanks have gotten away from the 1, 2, 3. That's going to be as far as the enmity combo. There is going to be a combo, but there's no longer an enmity combo.
There's not a specific enmity combo. Now there's a enmity stance or something.
You can have tank stance, which will increase your enmity, and I think those tank stances are really just going to say, "I'm the main tank," and then you can toggle it off. I think what they found was that tanks didn't necessarily have a problem with the tank stance; it was the damage drop off from accepting the tank stance over the DPS stance. So now you can keep your DPS, but just flag if you're the main tank or not, or whatever, depending on the mechanic.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. I'd like to hear from tank mains what they think of this.
Absolutely, yeah. And as we talk about this stuff, I know it's too early to get feedback, but because I think some of the feedback we're already getting is a little off. When we don't know the correct potencies and we don't have correct tooltips, I'm seeing some people go off. I think we'll have some time to talk about salt before we finish up. But the Paladin stuff here. I chose this because we both have some experience with it. Again, with the bloat, there's some things I'm seeing that's going to be removed that I forgot to push when I was playing Paladin.
Yeah. As a poor tank, I did not use the whole toolkit anyway. I just hope that they didn't prune enough that people who were pushing buttons good will feel gimped. You know what I mean? Not gimped, but because I would tank for a roulette. I would tank for maybe a normal primal trial or something, but I'm not a good enough tank to do anything other than that. So I'd probably be fine with these tank changes. But if someone who really knew how to eke out every bit of performance, I don't know if they'll be happy or not. I've heard a little bit of tank whining that they made them all very similar or something. But I heard that about the tanks and the healers.
Yeah.
So
I definitely heard about the healers. I've heard less people in tank land be salty about the tank types. I know Paladins are very happy with intervene. That is the Gap Closer. Rushes the target, delivers an attack with a potency of 200. Very much needed for Paladin. I guess that's some of that similarity across the board, but I feel like that's a utility thing that every tank should have.
Yes, tanks should have that. I really think, anyway.
Yeah. You could, something like that, I could see them going the route and saying, oh, this would be a great role action. But I've heard people saying, oh, they've destroyed the identity of jobs, and I'm thinking that's just the opposite of what they went. They were trying to replace the job identity that they got away from through role actions. I thought role actions, although it was a good idea, was the thing that made the jobs bland, and you didn't really have a variety. It was a illusion of variety because you always had to pick those best 5. There was very little variance, and for the jobs that had variance, it was frustrating. Like, I have to make macros to swap this out, or I forgot to swap this out, or
I have to make sure I communicate before I go into the fight that I'm taking this and you should take that.
Yeah, and this game just doesn't, when you're telling, play with your trusts, don't communicate, treat them like NPCs, and then I'm expected to say, hey, can you bring Asuna so I can bring Protect? That makes things a little more difficult. So what they did was they rolled these role actions into the job identity. Yeah, they're the same. Every gap closer is a gap closer. They might have very small differences to them. But those small differences and the animations and names are that little bit of job identity that I think was taken away somewhere between Heavensward and Stormblood.
Well, and some of the utility abilities especially, I think are going to... You kind of have to make them similar.
Right.
I feel like... I don't know.
You got to have an oh shit, whether it's dropping you to 1 HP and hanging on, or giving you invincibility, or making you dead, or whatever the hell it is. Yeah, they have differences, and some might be a little more annoying than others. But at the end of the day, it's still an oh shit button. But those little differences in them is what gives the job its flavor.
Well, and I know I shouldn't feel this way, but they're going to look different, right? The abilities are going to look different. They're probably going to feel a little bit different to play. They're going to have different sound effects and flashy lights.
You're going to feel cooler about your job.
I'm hoping I've seen a lot of doom and gloom threads about, it's basically a reskin. You're just basically, if they dumb it down anymore, you're just going to have one job called tank and one job called healer and one job called DPS. But so far I'm not sure I'm seeing that, but okay. So that's tank stuffs. I know there's some people who are confused, or I don't know what they're worried about, but apparently Dark Knight, some of the abilities, people have question marks over their head how they're all working. I don't know. And somebody said Gunbreaker is going to sounds really, really strong and overpowered. And I'm like, yeah, but I remember people saying that in Stormblood and Heavensward, the new jobs. Oh, that sounds really overpowered, but it didn't turn out to be.
Yeah, look how Machinist turned out.
Yeah. Machinist is kind of the poster child of that. I know we had people in the free company who were like, I'm going to come back and play Machinist. It sounds so OP or whatever. And it's like, they're like, womp womp.
Mm-hmm.
Should we move on to healer role actions?
Let's talk about it. And I guess if we're going to focus on well, we can kind of talk about them all, but I mean, we'll focus on White Mage because I mean that's kind of our bag, I think.
But we have to mention Scholar too.
We
let's
do.
Start with role actions.
Let's start with the role actions.
That's so at level 8 you get repose. You don't use.
I don't understand
CC
why this one was kept.
Much.
Yeah.
I have had repose save my ass while splitting up groups, but it really hasn't been a big deal. I know, because I play White Mage and Black Mage, and like in the early days, you'd pull too much, and yeah, the Black Mage would AoE sleep, and you'd, whatever, or you'd pull one extra mob, and repose did save your ass, but it's so situational. I feel like they left it in because they only gave healers 5 or 6.
Oh, you just took me back when you could add AoE to shit, and you could add AoE to...
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Asuna had to stay. I don't mind that it's a roll action. I think everybody... I kind of miss the flavor that one was called leeches and whatever, but we haven't had that for a while. But we do need all healers to have a spell that lets you take detrimental effects off a target, because what else are you going to do? Heal? Everybody
DPS
needs Swift
Yelta is the
Cast.
answer.
Yeah. You get 2. You get Dia and you get whatever. Anyway, Swift Cast. Every healer needs Swift Cast. Lucid Dreaming. Yep. Enmity Drop and Refresh.
Yeah,
Absolutely
especially
needed
since there's no more refresh.
There's no, yeah. Surecast. That's arm's length for mages, basically. It's only 6 seconds though. Theirs is 15. The tank one was 15. Now these could be wrong.
Could be.
These tooltips.
They might have made them similar.
But Surecast being 6 seconds is not. Oh no. Yeah. That's not very long.
Yeah, that recast is the similar, but it's much longer.
Because it's 2 minutes now. It used to be, what was it, 30 seconds? I could Surecast all over the fucking place today.
Okay, I'm looking back at arm's length. The duration of the knockback thing is 6 seconds. The slow tick is 15 seconds.
Okay, all right. So 6 seconds. Well, and half of the reason you use those abilities is you knew something was happening. So on the second pull, after y'all got pushed off, you'd note that wave is going to push you off the edge. So use it. I'm glad they left rescue in, but I'm still kind of the uses for it are so fucking situational. I've seriously rescued people of value 2 times, but I haven't done any raiding lately. So, but I don't know. But again, I'm not sure what they thought they were going to give everybody, and this is what we get. But we lost a lot too.
We did.
We just lost what we lose. Well, as roll actions, we lost Eye for an Eye, which I liked a lot. We lost Cleric Stance. Where's my lost items bit piece? Healers. Break, Protect, Largesse, Cleric Stance, and Eye for an Eye. Gone. Now I know Protect didn't do much, but it's like, but it's Protect. I almost never used Break. Largesse I used a ton. Now, White Mage anyway is getting an ability that's kind of like that on drugs though. So, and they've taken basically the DPS out of healing, so I can see why they would take Cleric Stance away. I kind of wish they would left us Eye for an Eye.
Yeah. Especially because it's weird on Scholar, because when you use deployment tactics, it used to be just Galvanize. It used to be Galvanize and Eye for an Eye, and now it's just Galvanize, and it seems like one ability for one skill. Like, there's no variety to that, so it just seems flat to me.
All right, let's talk just basically heals and shields we'll use White Mage. We get Cure 2, we get Regen, Benediction, Raise, Divine Benison, which is different now. No, Divine Benison is the same. I'm thinking something else.
Well, it is a little different. It's instead of a percentage, it's 500 potency. It's absorbs that damage of a set amount.
Yeah, and Tetra. AoEs, heals / shields. You still got Medica. You got Medica 2. I noticed something about Medica 2 and Regen. 15 seconds?
Yeah. Potency got doubled. The duration got halved.
So I really think they just, and especially because we got a lot of our DPS gutted, I really think they want us to apply and reapply heals more often now. Which is fine, I guess, but as long as we have something to heal.
Yeah, I was watching that dungeon. A lot of these outfits that went to the media tour got to do the dungeon, and the last boss, I think, of Dawn Meg, did like AoE. It was like this water shit coming out of the ground. It was splashing. And people took a lot of damage. In fact, I was watching Larry's interview's funny. He did like 7 to 9 minutes, and he kind of goes through the interview, and then he's like, and here's the rest of my video. You can just watch me do the dungeon. It's like 17 minutes of just him watching do the dungeon. But it's great because you get to focus on the dungeon, right? And their astrologian seemed like they were struggling. We'll get to Astrologian in just a bit, but that Astrologian looked like it was having a tough time, at least the first half of the dungeon.
Well, and now we have this Afflatus. I don't even know how you say that. We have Afflatus Solus and Rapture. Both nourish the blood lily. One is a target heal. The other one's a AoE heal. And then apparently you build up that blood lily thing, and then you can do Afflatus Misery. I've seen a lot of math. People are like, that's not very strong, and it's kind of a waste. But I haven't done the math myself.
Yeah, I've seen the math because
it's instant. Right?
We'll, I guess, coming up next when we talk about the DPS abilities, the ability Glare does a potency of 300, and they were acting like in the time it would take you could do 4 glares and do more damage than the Afflatus Misery. But they weren't, like, taking into consideration. I guess they were, like, if you were fishing, like, using these things to fish for the Blood Lily. But I think you're just going to be getting the Blood Lily because you're going to be wanting to use Solus and Rapture. It's like a free cure. It doesn't use MP. It just uses one of the lilies that you're getting anyway by playing for 30 seconds at a time.
Yeah, it seemed like a free resource to me.
It's free. So when you go into your DPS, like maybe somebody buffs you, you've got it ready to go, and then you go into a quick DPS thing. We talked a little bit about it last week, but I think you're going to be seeing a lot more of the effectiveness of burst DPS, where you line it up. It's like Overwatch or something else, where you're like, my ult's ready.
We're like everybody now.
Yeah. You want to time it up right. So you throw the Astrologian throws one of its 8 balance cards. We'll talk about that soon. On somebody. The Dancer chooses them for a partner, and then whatever else buff goes out, and, away you go, Black Mage or whoever else. And if you happen to get a buff card or something, go blast your misery and blast your misery all over my face. I'm a sad prostitute.
Oh my goodness. Well, and it's also an AoE. It's a potency of 900 for the first, 10% less for the second, 20% less for the third.
So it's an AoE, yeah.
It's an AoE with some damage fall off, but I don't know.
Save it for those big pulls. I mean, fuck it. There'll be some utility to it. It's not completely terrible. Yeah, I'm kind of weird that the Lily gauge remained. I thought that they would just torch it. I didn't think that they would do something else with it. They're
apparently married to the Lily gauge. The gauge itself is
Yeah, the fact that the things turn white, they still don't look like lilies to me. The blood lily does. The blood lily looks like a lily.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, since I was talking about it, the DPS stuff and dots included. So we start off as our young budding conjurer casting earth magics and wind magics because we're a conjurer. The 12's wood has given us our spirit and da-da-da-da-da. No, fuck that, you're a white mage, so now you're getting glare.
Well, what's funny, so you become a white mage at level 30.
Yeah.
But level 54 you get stone 3, level 64 you get stone 4, and then at 72 you get glare.
Yeah. Shouldn't that have been at like 30? Switch you to white magic at that point? That would have,
to me, lore-wise, made a lot more sense. It would have been like, oh, you're a white mage now. But I don't know. And then arrow, yeah, that's 4 you get arrow. 46 you get arrow 2. Yeah, we've lost arrow 3 completely, and that makes me sad because it's not an AoE.
I loved arrow 3. That one was so
Used
good.
It. I liked reapplying it. I don't know why. It was satisfying to cast. It hit everybody. We get Dia. No, I'm not mad though. I'm not mad that we got Dia. I wish Glare had been named Banish or something.
Oh yeah, I wish we had Dia and Banish. That would have been my hope.
What is Glare even? I don't know. And
fix it.
Do we lose all AoEs but Holy?
Yeah, that's the only AoE. Well, and Misery. We have Misery.
Okay, Misery. Once we charge up the blood lily.
Yeah, you have to nourish the blood lily.
That's right. It's a little weird.
Yeah, it's kind of freaky.
Yeah. We do get Fluid Aura. It doesn't say pushback anymore, thank God, honestly. But binding a target, I have used Fluid Aura. I've used it kind of like I use Repose. Occasionally, one guy too many. Presence of Mind is much the same. Thin Air.
Oh, I think they must have extended the range on that. I feel like you had to be really close to use Fluid Aura in the past.
Yeah, it's 25 yards. Well, yeah, because I think it was very close. Or, well, that's maybe just how I used it.
Yeah.
But Presence of Mind and Thin Air, I'm glad we still have them. Plenary Indulgence is weird now. Mm-hmm. So you cast it, it's every 60 seconds. It grants a confession to self and nearby party members upon receiving a hit point recovery via Medica 2, or Cure 3, cast by self. Trigger an additional healing effect for 200 cure potency.
So you apply it before you do a Medica 2, or a Cure 3.
Yeah.
To do a bonus. That seems like one extra button hit that I don't need.
So it's like not a shield, so it's not keeping you from... It's not preventing damage. It's definitely... I kind of like the way it works now, but okay. I liked doing a Medica 2 or a Medica, then running around, and then while we're still moving, getting back into position and taking damage, I can hit that button and be like, psh.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded if this sent out the confession and then you hit it again to be like a timed heal, and then maybe it works like, well, that might be OP, but it works like Astrologian's Starry Circle thing, where you leave the prayer on them for up to 3 stacks, and then it triples in value, and then when you hit the button, it goes off. Something to that effect. This to me is an extra button press. You could have just built that into the as a trait,
Well, and the duration's 10 seconds on this slide anyway. Really? You want me to cast this because I know in 10 seconds I'm going to have to heal people?
Yeah, that goes back to the reason we didn't like Plenary Indulgence, the short duration.
Mm-hmm. Temperance sounds cool. That's the wings.
Yep.
It increases your healing magic potency by 20% while reducing damage taken by self and all party members within a radius of 30 yalms by 10%. It's recastable every 2 minutes. I don't know. It's kind of... That's where I feel like Largesse was kind of like melted into this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And 30 yalms... How far is 30 yalms? Are all those bards going to be outside of my range anyway?
30 yalms is bigger than Medica.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's see. There was something in the traits I wanted to cover, but I can't remember. Free Cure is still there. It's whatever. But we also get an enhanced Asylum, so adds an additional effect to Asylum that increases the hit point recovery via healing actions by 10%. So you're not just getting a regen while you're in there, you're also getting a bit more healing. I don't know. It seems kind of weak as a level 78 trait, but...
Yeah, they still have to stand in the bubble.
Mm-hmm. Please stand in my bubble.
So, yeah, we'll see how this meshes. Some of this I'm thinking, it just doesn't seem like they meld together that well. I don't think it's weak, though. I don't think there's anything weak.
No, I think it's very strong. You got a lot of instant heals. I'm still sad they didn't give us White Mage another shield. But maybe the, buff to you'll heal better now if you've applied Plenary Indulgence or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, the biggest gripe I've even heard overall had to do with the DPS potencies. Again, it was the bitching that I could cast 4 glares instead of a misery, and it sucks now. And the other was, and I guess that can lead us into the rest of this discussion, is that instead of raising White Mage up to the level that Astrologian and Scholar were, they just dropped Scholar and Astrologian to the abyss where White Mage lived. So with that, I want to talk about the two. Well, let's start with Scholar because I think it's the least of the two that we'll talk about, but experience-wise. But they got gutted.
Scholar got absolutely gutted. If you look at the little Final Fantasy XIV action goodbye to patch 5.0, There's one. Well, okay, that was for their pet, but there's 2 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 abilities taken off. They've basically dumbed down the fairies completely, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just tossed all of their dots and a lot of their direct.
No more miasma. No more miasma 2. Shadow Flare's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these pet actions are kind of rolled into your Eggy Assault or whatever they call it on this 1 and 2. But the variety is what left, because Eos and Selene are just there's your Eggy Glamour. That's what you've been waiting for, right? So you just palette swap your fairy. They do the same thing. Whereas on Summoner, you have 3 different types of pets. Yes, that remains to be seen how that's going to play out, but at least you have something that says variety. Scholar does not have that any longer. They do get the Seraph, but is that enough to make them happy by losing the fairy variety?
They only get 3 traits. Broil Mastery. Broil 2 is upgraded to Broil 3, and the potency of Ruin 2 is increased.
Mm-hmm.
Broil 2, Corruption Mastery. Broil 2 is upgraded to Biolis, whatever, and Enhanced Sacred Soil. So it gives you a heal over time.
Yeah.
Yeah. They still, not to be fair, they still seem to have the most DPS abilities of the healers. Well, compared to White Mage, I guess. They do still have a dot.
They've well, it's a dot. It's a straight DPS, and then they really kind of got rid of the AoE though, didn't they? I'm not really seeing much in the world of AoE development here, so they might have gotten
Art of
screwed.
War gives unaspect damage to all nearby enemies, but
which one is that
150.
now?
Art of War.
Okay, that's the one.
But that's like, Now, don't get me wrong. I think that too many scholars were just like, well, I just put my fairy on follow. She heals, and I just a DPS her, but
that is gone. That is gone. But that is why a lot of scholars played Scholar. And
it's a green DPS.
It's gone. So will there be some room for a little bit of that? Maybe because of the pet, they can. I don't know. It remains to be seen. But my thinking is that it's more healing for the healers. So we're going to pump out more damage, and we're going to make you more of a healer role. Yes, you'll be able to DPS. It will be somewhat important, but it is not the most important aspect of your job. And the scholars that liked to DPS are probably not going to want to play Scholar, or have to change their expectation on what to do.
Well, an Astrologian, I've seen a lot of arguing back and forth, right? So they have a lot less stuff now, right? Cards are way more straightforward. Now, this might be great for someone like me who found Astrologian and trying to remember all the cards and who they should go to and blah, blah, blah. Maybe for me, it'll make me like Astrologian, but I see a lot of people bitching that the cards have been simplified so much that it's like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
But I've also seen a lot of counterpoints that are like, dude, for the most part, you were fishing for the same 2 cards anyway, and you still have them or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think that's basically it. You had all 6 cards turn into balance. It's just, is it a stronger balance on the ranged DPS or a stronger balance on the melee DPS? They don't even differentiate the ranged physical versus ranged magic. It's just basically 2 types of cards that have these 3 seals. The celestial.
Well, and they lost all the AoE ones, right? If I got a whatever.
Yeah, you lose the AoE ability. There is an AoE that triggers out of divination when you've gotten the 3 seals of Arcana, and you have 3 different ones. Well, I guess it doesn't matter, but that changes the potency. And it'll put a a balance, an AoE balance. So you can put the 6 cards down, no matter what, you're going to get at least a 3% DPS increase. And then if you trigger your minor arcana, those are also DPS increase. And then once you trigger divination, that too is a DPS increase. So what really happened is the variety in the cards are gone. I do get that there were astrologians that only fished for balance. AoE balance, that's all I want. Mm-hmm. But that's not as good in a 4-man group as it would be in an 8-man group. So you should be able to use variety. And in fact, there were jobs that begged for the arrow. Black mages and samurais want arrow like nobody's business. Sometimes it's good to have that extra bit of mana. I felt on Astrologian I would go through mana very quickly, and sometimes it's nice to have an ewer to have as a backup. I would have really liked to have seen them do kind of an astral umbral with you can keep the symbols the same, but maybe a offense versus a defense. So if you felt like you needed more defense for the tank, you could pop those on, or if you had a player that was dying a lot, you could use it. But whether you use the offensive version or the defensive version, you still got your celestial shields. And then let divination continue to be a balance that's AoE, because that's what most people want anyway. And then you have a little bit of variety. Something's back, but just changing everything to the balance, I think it undermines the intelligence of the higher level playing astrologians who were able to manage their cards well, to bring them down. It's like, well, you bring the smartest student in the class down instead of challenging the weakest student in the class.
Yeah, it's lowering the skill ceiling. And as far as the arguments for Astrologian and the changes I've seen, the arguments have been coming from different camps. A lot of them were like casual to mid-core players who seem to, run with a lot of pugs and have to react to a lot of shit that went wrong. And a lot of them were arguing with people who basically had a static that were clearing, savage stuff and ultimate stuff with relative ease and were used to perfect parties. That's what I feel. So the ones who are like, well, you only use 2 cards anyway, they weren't having to react to bad times. We have a variety of people playing this game, of all skill levels and attention spans, and I can kind of see the arguments from both sides, I guess. So, the neutral sect is a little weird. First of all, they should have given it a sexier name.
Yeah.
It's a level 80 astrologian ability, or stance. So you still have diurnal and nocturnal. They kind of still do what you thought. But this one just basically makes you a white mage. I don't know, or it gives you the best of both worlds. It increases healing magic potency by 20%. Aspected Helios and aspected Benefit receive the effects of both the sects, the other 2 sects. Now, it's only 20 seconds. It's an instant cast. But, well, that's not really a stance then. It's like
not
that
really
you switch
a
into that
stance.
stance, right?
It's kind of an
so
shit stance. Like, I need them both. We got big shit coming. I think it's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, no, now that I read it, I was reading Reddit comments, not the articles, and maybe going over the slides as closely as I should have, but this does kind of feel like here we go. The recasts every 2 minutes. If you have fuck, I need all the things for 20 seconds. Okay, so I'm assuming then you just slide into whatever stance you were previously, maybe?
Yeah, you keep the same stance that you were, because you can't change your stance once you've chosen one at the start of a battle. You can't swap while you're in combat, so yeah, you'd go back.
But I can see why the healers who only wanted to heal are celebrating. I can see the healers who wanted to fill non-healing time with DPS are upset.
Yoshida just wants us to respect this content.
Respect the content. Great community, by the way.
All right, moving on. to casters.
So I read the Black Mage stuff. I'm assuming you read the Summoner stuff.
For sure. I've read them all. Do you want to start with Black Mage?
Black Mage, honestly, Black Mage didn't lose much. It seems like all good things, is from what I can tell. I really haven't had tons and tons of time to look into it. But now let's start with role actions. Magic DPS gets to keep Addle.
Like it.
Swift Cast. Lucid Dreaming and Surecast. That's it, boys. That's all you get.
Those were the important ones. I'm trying to think what my fifth one was at whatever given time, and these four always 100%.
Seems like summoners are pretty happy with these changes.
Yeah, is that where you want to dive, Summoner?
Yeah, dive into Summoner.
Love it. As a Summoner main for all of Stormblood, love it. Love it. So let's see. Let's dive into it. So the bios didn't change a lot. There were potency changes. I'm not going to go into all of those. Bios and miasmas, Tri-Disaster, that stuff's pretty much the same. There are some traits that let you bane that Ruination debuff. So if you're not familiar, there is a Ruination debuff when you place Tri-Disaster on the target that makes Ruin hit harder. When you baned up to this point, it just spreads the 2 dots. It does not spread Ruination, because Ruination's not a dot, but Bane will have that upgrade that will spread Ruination. So that's great, because if you're doing your AoE rotation, you were doing Tri-Bind, which, this is funny, I watched Larry Zor's video on this, and he's hilarious on this point. They can't seem to get rid of Tri-Bind. They just renamed it and re-iconed it as Outburst, but it does the same shit without the bind. So it's just an AoE attack. So when you go into your trance or whatever, and you're AoE blasting, you're basically going to spread that Ruination and then do your Outburst. But anyway, Bahamut got... I think there was a change to the way Wormwave goes out. Wormwave would work on off global cooldown abilities such as Fester, and your global cooldown abilities such as Ruin 2. So basically you would spam Ruin 2 and then do Festers in between. The Festers and off global cooldown abilities will no longer trigger those. The Aetherflow abilities will not trigger Wormwave. So you're basically just going to do your Ruins. There may be other things that you would want to do, but it's no longer like save up your Aetherflow to use Fester for the rotation. Summoners know what I'm talking about. Phoenix, we've got Phoenix. I'm not going to go into all the abilities here, but it's basically like another Bahamut rotation that your abilities swap over. You do Brand of Purgatory as a blast, or the Revelation is the blast. Brand of Purgatory is an additional attack that you get. Everlasting Flight, whenever Phoenix shows up, AoE heal goes out. It's a regen. It's a Medica 2. So
that's so weird. I'm not sure what I think of that.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what I think about it either, but Cure Potency 20, that's pretty damn weak. However,
that's true.
We don't know if they changed Physic to Intelligence off of Mind. If a summoner heals you today, it's based off of Mind. Their physics suck. But Red Mage's Vercure is based off of Intelligence, so their cures are strong. Did they change Summoner? I don't know. Summoners forgot to cast this ability at the Media Tour, so nobody knows. But if that Everlasting Flight is a 20 tick, 20 cure potency, and if it's based off of Mind, that ain't going to hit if you're on Summoner. You follow what I'm saying? So it might need to be based off of Intelligence, which might mean Physic might be okay? I don't know. We'll see. The other shit, Aetherflow, you only get 2 stacks now. It seems weird, but you'll be using Energy Drain or in an AoE rotation, Energy Siphon. And that's what's going to give you your Aetherflow stacks back. But when you go into Dreadworm, I think it gives you the 2 stacks of Bahamut juice. So you can cast Bahamut. I don't know what it's fucking called. It's Bahamut juice. Drink it. AoEs, I explained that. And then your ruin spells and all that other shit. Resurrection's the same. In fact, on Red Mage, move into that. They didn't fuck with the raises. The raises were left alone. We were hearing weird things like...
Yeah, and the Red Mage one too, right? That all was
we're going to put charges on it. You know, we heard doom and gloom about it being like this forever cast time, a 5-minute cast time, and it might have 3 charges on it, and so you can't use it in combat any longer after your 3 to make it hard mode. Or so Red Mages aren't stuck as like res bitches or something. So that didn't change at all.
You're still a res bitch, is what you're telling me.
You're still a res bitch, Red Mage. Talking about Red Mage briefly, because I think I'm done with Summoner. Unless you have some Summoner comments. Do you have any?
I have no Summoner comments.
Since
Phoenix looks bad.
You used to summon.
Yeah, for turn 8 or whatever, when I had to...
Yeah, back when you had to kite Renauds.
Get a job equipped just to run one turn of coil. Just to freeze statues, dudes where
the kids don't know about kiting Renauds to the spot.
Kiting Renauds. Okay, so I love my raid group very, very much, where I changed an entire job, leveled it up, I think I had it leveled, geared it out, learned to play it just to position Renauds in the correct position.
Yeah, just to put that slow on the target, because Miasma had the heavy effect.
I think I kept a summoner during the breakfast fight too.
Because we needed the heavy effect.
Right, yeah. I think so. Right? So, anyway.
Wow.
I'll do it in 1.0. I leveled Monk to high level just to get through Arm Vale and do 5 chest runs. So, I'll do anything.
Leave it at that, Yelta. She'll do anything.
I'll do anything.
Yoshida?
Go into Red Mage.
She'll do anything.
God. Oh, my God.
All right. So, briefly, I think I was going to say something about Red Mage. It didn't get much of a change. I think it just pretty much stayed the same. It got a couple extra flashy abilities at the end, but they didn't gut it. I think there's some name changes that are wrong because there's 2 Ver Arrows and 2 Ver Thunders as at the time of this recording, and they got to make some changes. But otherwise, I don't think it changed a whole lot.
That's not bad though.
No,
right? Sometimes it's like if it's not broke, don't fix it, kind of thing.
Amen. And Black Mage didn't really get a ton of a facelift.
It was if it was not broke, don't fix it. Right? It got. I think it got a couple of. There's, Blizzard 4 has no MP cost or something. Or no, something has no MP cost anymore.
When you trade over and use your Blizzard, I think there's no MP cost. It's like a trade. Freeze got a fix. It's no longer trash. It's actually, you might want to use that in your AoE rotation because you've got the free thing and it gives you like an extra Umbral Heart, something to that effect.
Yeah. No, I have no comments. I really haven't looked at it that closely. I'm not hearing I hear a lot of Black Mages theory crafting their new rotation, but not crying.
Convert is gone. It's now Mana Font.
Oh.
And so it no longer takes your HP away, so none of those, oops.
Do you know how many times I've killed myself on Black Mage? But being like, I'm dead. Please raise me, I'm dumb. Black Mage has a lot of utility spells now, but they're exactly what you thought they were. Triple cast and Umbral Soul. What's the capstone ability for Black Mage? What's the level 80? Xenoglassy. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 750. Can only be executed while under the effect of Polygon. Okay. Alright. Oh, Scathe didn't used to have this 20% chance potency to double, did it?
I think it did.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, that shows you how much I've used Scathe in the last 2 years.
I mean, good. Shouldn't have to use it that much. Oh, Transpose also got some changes. I think it was shortened. The cast time was short.
Oh wow, because it was pretty short to begin with.
And like some of the
5 seconds.
procs got lengthened to make things easier.
I heard it's easier to keep Enochian or whatever up, and
it's a Nochi-chan. Don't you know that?
Enochi-chan, yeah.
Ekinakanen.
It's the Viagra.
It keeps one of these others, maybe it was Sharpcast. One of these got a longer 15-second duration on Sharpcast. I think that got increased.
I don't understand why, but okay.
Get those windows longer, Yelta. Give you some more ease.
I guess. I don't know. For the most part, you would use Sharpcast and then cast the ability. So I don't know. Anyway, that's probably it for our magic DPS. Ranged, I got nothing. I didn't even read the dancer slide. Because everybody's going to be a fucking dancer when it comes out, so I've decided I'm just not going to bother with it till it's...
Probably a smart move. This was actually the first video I watched. I will recommend, as we're going through these, there is a Reddit video for each of the roles, and the ranged, I think, was the best done out of the lot. I'll just say this. If you're doing YouTube videos, try to keep your sound consistent across your videos. The ranged one has excellent quality on the Reddit ones. Some others were not that great. Anyway.
I watch a lot of YouTube in bed while my husband's sleeping, so yeah, I really appreciate it if you normalize your sounds.
Yeah. I think the cooler one to probably talk about out of all this is Machinist.
It sounds so good now. Honestly, it sounds like what went from garbage is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I think this is the magically transformed one here. So starting off with the role actions, the ones you're getting to keep, leg graze, head graze, and foot graze. But arm graze lost the battle. It will not return. Second wind is still here. Peloton is still here. And you get arm's length. Yes, ranged. You will not get knocked off the train. The phantom train will not push you off any longer when everybody knocks the boxes away and you have nothing to prop you up with. So that is great. The big stuff on Machinist, because I don't really main Machinist, I have played it. Yelta, I think you've got it leveled up.
It's leveled. Ammunition's gone, right?
Ammo's gone.
Right, you don't have to. There's something changed about the overheating mechanic.
Yeah, you have a battery gauge now, but you still can't contain the overheat. But I don't think it's a big rush to overheat where you have to time it out like you had in the past. In fact, that whole window of wildfire is now changed, where it's not it's not a percentage based of potency, but it's the number of weapon skills that you get into the window, and it's a potency of 150 apiece. So that kind of changes how you want to save your fast stuff, your instant cast things to put into that wildfire window. And you have a lot. There's a lot of instant cast stuff. Hot Shot doesn't do ite same thing anymore. You're going to instead increase your battery gauge with that, but you are getting things like a drill. You're getting Bioblaster, and you're getting Air Anchor, which I think is an upgrade of one of the previous abilities. Oh, Hot Shot, I think, becomes Air Anchor at a certain level. It's a trait. You still have your overheat mechanics. I think when you bring your turrets out, which the Bishop is gone, but with the turret, it's going to automatically go into an overload. It's just a time-based thing now. It's not going to sit there in the battlefield forever and do its thing. I think it's got a time limit, and then it's going to go into its overheat type status.
The Rook overload.
Yeah, it's gonna do its thing with that.
Yeah, you place it goes into overdrive, and then it blows up or something. So that's cool. I never really. I thought the Rook and the other one were cool, but Especially when they've dumbed down. Now you don't have TP, you only have MP, and now you only have 10,000 MP. What were they going to do with that? I like this change.
Yeah, very good change. I guess the biggest one that everybody sees, if you're not like a big Edgar guy and love that there's auto crossbow and bioblaster and drill and all that, is the automaton queen. You instead of bishop, you got upgraded. Your chess piece is now the queen, and it just puts the bot next to you. You've probably seen the video by now, but you've got a fighting robot next to you that's going to do its thing. And then explode or nuke itself or whatever it does.
But apparently the internet's melting down that they've made it female. And they wanted to name it Ted or something. I
mean, shouldn't the first robot be female? Because we're all going to want to fuck it anyway, right? As soon as we get that first living machine,
I don't know.
Everybody's going to want to fuck it.
Like 90% of the internet's cheering about this automaton queen, and then like a small subgroup's like, but I wanted it to be a dude. Why is it a girl? Anyway.
I've already seen...
It looks awesome. Mm-hmm.
I think it's great. I've already seen the theory crafters shitting on machinists because there's not enough off-global cooldown abilities to fit into the wildfire window, that these abilities that are instant are still on the global cooldown. And I think that's based on like them watching the videos and seeing how these work. So I'm seeing some people not happy, even though it looks cool that the rotation might be
clunky
jacked.
and weird. Well, again, I'm like, once the game comes out, once we're all playing it, once we've leveled up and killed a few things with our abilities, just, go to the official forum and write a reasonable feedback response,
Yeah.
They've done it in the last 2 expansions. When something was completely fucking broken or unhappy people wrote up why they didn't like it, they have adjusted.
Yep.
So.
I'm not going to go over Dancer because I think there's better videos for it. It's basically doing steps and you pressing... It looked like Simon to me, the old game from the 80s with the red and blue, and you're hitting the buttons in the right order, and then it does the thing, but I think it gets faster every time. Something to that effect. Looks wild.
I'm still a little worried because I know they said you're not going to really feel like you have to take Dancer into everything, but the stuff reads so good that it's like I absolutely need to take a Dancer with me everywhere. I've also read that while Dancer has some awesome abilities, its actual DPS is fairly garbage. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I heard bards are not unhappy, but they're not happy either. I don't know. Somewhere in the middle.
Well, I guess the good news is it didn't go back to like a caster bard.
I know. At least it didn't go to caster bard.
Yeah. But I guess if there's a bad news, it no longer has that utility with the crit per song. The song is just basically, I think it just does what it did. And no longer will you have like the Troubadour extra status. Troubadour is just going to be a defensive buff. Your songs are going to do, basically your Wanderer's Minuet and your Mage's Ballad does the same. It just does those procs that you're wanting to build up and shoot off. The big difference is Armies Pay On, which when you get the stacks of repertoire, depending on the number of stacks, gives you a haste bonus once the song ends. So most bards know on a boss fight, Armies Pay On is the song you want to get out of. You want to only go till like 20 seconds on it because you want to quickly go back into Wanderer's Minuet so you can do DPS on the boss. But now if you wait till you get all 4 stacks total, you can get, I think it's a 12% haste buff. So that's huge. And here's that utility that I feel like Astrologian lost, but you're able to haste your party with this. So Bard isn't completely lost anything. In fact, I think the other abilities are great. Everything else seems pretty similar. There's some changes with the way things are proc, like Barrage does an instant proc for Refulgent Arrow, which is a great change. And then the removal of TP, you're just doing your TP moves free of cost. There's a soul voice gauge. There's some things with that, like with Apex Arrow. So that's a new mechanic. I think that try to get the procking for crits thing that's gone. Mm-hmm. That gauge is gone. But I'm not unhappy. I didn't main Bard, but I have played a lot of it over the last few months. And it's just seeing these things. It didn't gut the job. I don't think the rotation is really much different than it was. I guess I could see being unhappy that there might not be major changes to the role.
Well, it might be one of those, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right,
so.
but it also doesn't give you that warm fuzzy like, oh, everybody wants a Bard. No, everybody's going to probably want a dancer, and bards are going to get pushed to the side.
So I foretell for at least 3 months, everybody's going to take a dancer instead of a bard, no matter what Science and Bath says. It's going to be like, oh, I need a dancer.
And if the rotation's not trash, people are going to want to see Machinist because it looks cool. Mm-hmm. But this didn't get... When you watch the video, Larazor has a video of their reactions. It's the job action trailer, but he has dubbed over the reactions of those on the media tour on his day, what they were saying during this part. And it's cool to see them react like Sly was like, he went ape shit over Dragoon, right? As expected.
Oh no, Dragoon looked amazing.
Yeah, in fact might be the one we want to talk about next. But when they showed the bard, there was like silence. It was like, and there was a couple abilities that were like, oh, okay.
That's how I felt with Black Mage. I'm like, they didn't give it anything fancy and new,
same rotation, yeah.
But it's still respectable, I guess. I don't know. All right. Yeah, let's move on to the melee DPS.
Melee.
We're going to roll melee.
Roll actions. Second Wind, Leg Sweep, Bloodbath, Feint, Arm's Length, and True North. So I think that's a good set.
I guess makes sense, right? Right. I never have hit Feint at all. I never hit that button.
Oh. Huh. That actually looks like a pretty good ability, but that's one of those like also like when you're a summoner, you're instructed to use Addle during Bahamut's window because it's one extra worm wave. So selfishly, you use Addle as an extra DPS ability instead of using it for its utility, which is kind of a problem at times when you have to use Addle for utility. Like what was it, 04S, when we had some mechanics where it's like you had to save, somebody needs to save their Addle for something. Yeah, so I can see people tunneling and not using Feint. I wanted to, I guess out of the four, I don't know if you had a preference. I pulled up Dragoon.
I pulled up Dragoon also, but honestly, it's just because it looked amazing in the video.
The jumps got faster.
The jumps got faster. Dragoon mains have not been replying their upset.
Yep, I think it simplified a step in their like their bar or something. There was a few steps that got simplified into two.
Mm-hmm. And from Monk, Ninja, and Samurai, I've heard these are okay changes.
I've not really heard any bitching.
I haven't heard any bitch. I've heard some bitching that, people expected Monk to get a complete rework or whatever, but I'm like, it was okay except for a few things, right? It really did a lot of damage. It really was not in a horrible place. But Monk, Ninja, and Samurai, and listeners, if you have feedback, let us know. But Dragoon felt like it got pulled out of the Dark Ages and brought into the New World or something.
I love this. One of Fusion X's personal favorites, he writes here, is the change to Dragon Sight. The ability itself is largely unchanged, except with the benefit of now being able to cast the ability even if there's no one in range. You can cast Dragon Sight on yourself to buff your own damage without anyone being around.
As a healer, I've gotten Dragon Sight on me just because I was standing close enough, I think.
Yeah, because the other two are probably ranged, or the other DPS is ranged, and they flipped way to the other side, and it's like, Dragoons are desperate. Like, who can I put my tether on?
How do I do it? I don't really know that much about these changes, but I just know that the reactions I've heard were happy.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of happiness. So just overall, I think many people are very happy with the changes. It's been great.
Well, my weakest role is melee DPS, so I'm still leveling Ninja. I'm still leveling Dragoons. I can't talk intelligently about any of them. I just noticed last night that I had that thing where you can be a frog and do that ability, and once I put it on my bar, was completely destroying groups of mobs. So yay. There's something else about melee DPS I wanted to say, but I can't think of it now. So let's move on.
I think for the sake of time, we can point listeners to the spreadsheet where things are at. There's a lot of good interviews. In fact, there's a great one by Gamer Escape. That's a written article. Some really great questions around the new jobs, around the machinist changes, and fate rewards. It's short, but just for the sake of time, I think, listener, you may go read that yourself. But we'll put some links on the site. Get some clicks on our website, Yelta. That's what we need instead of Russian bots.
Yeah. We definitely have bots. So.
Mm-hmm. But we will link this all media tour coverage in one spreadsheet. Reddit's got it. There's a lot, folks. I'm pulling up the spreadsheet now. There is, if you divide it by the jobs another way, they've got it like 183 different interviews, and that's including YouTube, written stuff, your major publications, your favorite influencer or Twitch streamer, your favorite fan site. They're all out here, so check them out. My personal favorites, I really enjoyed Larry's. I enjoyed Golden Tots and Frosties. Mr. Happy's was really good. It was 10 minutes. I know the old joke is Mr. Happy can take a 20-minute fight and turn it into a 4-hour video, but
I bet it was brief and to the point and really good. I have to go watch it.
Really, it was really good, and he told a good story about how he allowed his final question. He had another question, and he just was like, "I'll screw it," because it's going to give Yoshida like an extra 10 or 15 minutes of a break time between him and the next one. And it's like, let's let the man have a rest. I thought that was really admirable, in fact. So that was actually a really nice interview. Yeah, I was actually looking for more like written stuff, and I couldn't quite find it, but there's a lot of good videos. I thought Miztech had a lot of good videos on the jobs. Larry's job videos are also really good. And then if you just want a high-level interview or overview, again, the Reddit ones that are on each of the roles, I think, are pretty decent. Except for the audio quality. Not so good.
I want to briefly mention the Kotaku interview where Yoshi P says trans rights.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's not in the notes. I wanted to post it out here. So we talk a lot in this game, or not we maybe, but people in the game talk a lot about gender restrictions, and first and foremost, I think there should be a freedom in your values when it comes to the different genders. We don't want to restrict attire and clothing that you wear based on your character's gender or sex. Yoshi P goes on to give an example. I was heading to the office on a Saturday and I saw a situation that made me very sad. I was trying to go to the office and I was waiting in a red light. I saw a high schooler coming from the other side of the road in their school uniform. It seemed like they were biologically male at birth, but they were wearing a sailor fuku, which is traditionally female attire. In Japanese high schools, there's more and more schools that are accommodating for freedom of not being restricted to a specific gender for your uniform. That person probably wanted to present the gender they identified within their heart. On the other side of the road was a mother and a daughter. The daughter was perhaps 5 years old. As soon as the mother saw the high schooler, she shielded her daughter as if she didn't want her daughter to see. The high schooler must have been very hurt. Situations like this still happen, and there's areas where there's not as much understanding. He goes on to say, that being said, we want to address this, and I think it will be gradual. For instance, for the ceremony of eternal bonding, we've already started to make adjustments. Once we're officially released this, you won't have gender restrictions. If you wanted to both wear a dress, that's perfectly fine. If you want to both wear the tuxedo, that would also be fine. That's not available in the game yet, but we have done the preparations for it. So those are the 3 paragraphs. So I think that's fine. I think that's cool. I think people should be able to wear what they want to wear for the most part. So, this also lines up though. I still think a tank should look like a tank.
Yeah.
I don't care if you look like a girl or a boy tank or somewhere in between. But I still think you should look like a tank. I think a mage should look like a mage. I don't care what sex you are. So that was interesting, and from what I've read, that's pretty progressive for Japan, honestly. So yeah.
Yeah, I heard a comment that was like, Japan not necessarily like rampantly anti-transgender or transphobic, if you will, but it's more like those situations where they are shielded or hidden or like
outright ignored.
Ignored.
Yep.
So this is fantastic on Yoshida's part, and I think it speaks volumes of who he is and what he tries to do for the fan base of this game.
All right, reminders. We want to remember you all. I might have some rum. Okay. The Moogle Treasure Trove event has started. It started today. And in fact, right now our Discord is going crazy that apparently some people have farmed up a bunch of stuff to get items. So just remember that for about a month, you can run certain content in the game. It's mostly older or very old content to receive irregular tomestones of philosophy, and you can turn them into the Eternate Moogle in one of the 3 major cities for, honestly, all of the items exist in the game except for the Namazu earring or the seemingly special Time Worn map, which is just a map that will always have a portal. So if you're running stuff anyway, or if you hate hunts but you want the writing maps, that kind of thing. But I also just want to say, personally, if you really want something from, I don't know, Diadem, maybe talk to... There's an entire Discord channel that arranges runs to the Diadem. It's not that hard to get your Pegasus, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Some of these mounts are like, seriously? We could go in and the White Lannister whistle, Lannister. I don't even watch Game of Thrones. The White Lannister whistle, the Rose Lannister whistle, even the Answers orchestrion roll someone was cheering about today. I'm like, you just need a couple of friends and put up a party finder and you can go farm that. You can do the Diadem if you have anyone you know who has an airship. So, I'm not saying not to do this event. I'm saying if you do this event, buy the unique items, because the other stuff, or the one unique item, because you can just basically play the game with your friends and get the rest of it.
Yep.
All right. Whew. That said, I'm going to go try to get me some Namazu earrings. That is 100 of the items.
Gotta get those Namazu earrings.
Gotta get the items. What's on tap? Developers Blog and Tracker. We have a sneak peek into the EU Media event. This was... there's a lot of pictures, and it looks pretty amazing. It looks like they had a good time.
It looks like
they got to hear a lot of
Crystarium.
Yeah. They got to hear a lot of cool details of 5.0. They have a real life Gunbreaker costume displayed on a mannequin. Yoshi P apparently was posing with the gunblade. Mm-hmm. He stole it. So, these light catchers are cute though.
I like it.
They've superimposed. They've put a shadow of a job on I don't know. That'd be cool. There's a Vieira in a jar. On a jar. So anyway, it's cool. Apparently Yoshi P was wiped out. He was just draped over that couch at the end of the night. All right, another blog post, Tombstone Raider. This is talking about the new event, the Moogle Treasure Trove, the Hunt for Philosophy. And he showcases some of the prizes. Not all the prizes am I super happy with, honestly, but we covered that last week. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just, run the content, get the tombstones, turn them into the Moogle for rewards. Thank you, Zexels. No Captain Zexels. All right, visiting San Francisco and the First. This was Bayonne from the NA community team, sharing a quick report with last week's Shadowbringers Media Tour in San Francisco. He has huge thanks to Foxclan for the amazing videos. Amazing photos. Oh, that's the bridge, man.
Yeah.
I only know that bridge because I watched Rise of the Planet of the Apes and that one Star Trek movie.
Damn dirty apes. Oh, if you've not been, I have family out that way, so.
Dude, I don't think I've never seen the bridge. I've never seen the Golden Gate Bridge.
It's nice.
I may have to do that. My vacation this year, however, is to do Shadowbringers. I've taken a week off.
That's a good one.
Oh, all right. So there's some photographs of the site of the event, and upon entering, there's a hand-operated elevator. That's old school, guys.
Yeah,
that's old. The event space is gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous. And they kicked off the event, and they're hosting the Shadowbringers presentation for the media. They've got interview sessions kicked off after that. I really can't get over it. The site just looks amazing.
I love the color scheme.
There's like this purple walls, red carpet. I feel like I'm in some alternate reality of the Golden Saucer with maybe more hookers. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take some shots. Honestly, there's salt. There are some people very, very upset with that. Well, there's some people very upset with what they perceive or their class or role or job or whatever to be. I don't know. I keep coming back to, I'm not sure, but I'm going to wait till I play it to judge. And I hope we can wait to play it to judge and then give feedback in a reasonable level.
Yeah, I think the far edge of fate, the far edge of the fringe here is getting upset over some theory crafting. At this stage, the potencies aren't even correct. So it doesn't really make sense to go on a wild tangent because the rotation you've developed after seeing these abilities and watching one dungeon it's not working out. It just doesn't feel right. It feels clunky. You haven't pressed the buttons yet, so I wouldn't get too bent out of shape for that. If you're worried about the roles, I guess the simplification of the healer roles is really what I'm referring to. Again, I still feel like let's try it and see what it's like. I don't think anybody who was a solid big time DPS healer is going to be happy, and I don't think astrologians that like the variety in their cards are going to be happy. I think that's just kind of how it is. That's one of those. Let's go back and write something on the forums in a respectful and professional manner.
Reasonable. Be reasonable. Be constructive in your feedback.
No screeching.
No, I'm not unsub unless you blah 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 blah. And it's like,
no caps.
I don't know. I get it. I get that they're trying to. Really, they're not trying to retain us old players who liked the way it was before. They're really trying to please the players who are joined and who might join. So I kind of get it. I'm willing to wait and see. I want to wait and see how healer or how white mage feels and how black mage feels and how whatever might want to play feels. But I will be giving constructive feedback on the forum if I so feel I need to. All right, happy hour. We do have a question. We got a message on the website from Jared L. Ann. What's some good advice you would give to a new and returning players who have to relearn everything? I'm coming back after a year, and I'm having trouble getting back on track. I love Final Fantasy, and I want to have fun and get better, and I'm not sure where to start. Any advice? Awkward laughter. P.S. Love you guys. Love the podcast. Listen to at least 2 episodes a day at work from you guys. Much love. Dude, we have to up our content then if you listen to 2 whole episodes.
We'll have to do an episode a day.
This is already a 2-hour episode, so hopefully you won't listen to 2 of these.
Oh.
I don't know what Ruby. What's your suggestion? Well, mine kind of comes from: do you already have a job leveled, and you're trying to relearn it? If you're trying to relearn it, if you've already got a character and a job leveled, go into Palace of the Dead, go into Guild Hests, figure out where your buttons belong on your bar, go fight a training dummy, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Figure out what your buttons do. Read your tooltips, look at your equipment, decide what needs upgrading, and then figure out how to upgrade it. Reach out to other people on your server if you can. Or transfer. It's expensive to transfer servers, but if you're on a data center that you don't know anyone, that could be rough also. But I think Reddit has a lot of threads or a lot of stickies that are like, so you just turned 70 or whatever. I don't have enough from your message here to know where you're starting from, but ask for help. Honestly, is my suggestion. How about you, Ruby?
Well, it's like you said, I don't have enough information here to know. Are we talking about, have you done all the quests up to this point? Are you talking about just relearning a job? Are you talking about boredom in general? If you're talking about, first I would say get through the story if you hadn't caught back up with everything. Secondly, if you're talking about getting back on track with the job, all the suggestions that Yelta just said are valid. Do your experts, do your 24-man, and practice in there. If you're a DPS, you know your opener and know your rotation. So I'd just go out there and Google it. What's a DPS rotation? What's my opener? What Bard guide? Whatever guide. Type it up and read what it's got to say, and try that opener. Use a dummy, and try to get that opener. See if you can beat, at least the highest level EX at this time dummy, and go from there. And I think that maybe that's part of the fun. I don't know if the fun for you is getting better, or if the fun for you is having friends. I don't know if you have an FC. I don't know what the rest of your situation is. If you're looking for fun content to do once you feel more confident in your job, you'll want to check that Party Finder listing. Maybe go farm dogs, or just run the 24-man raid. Or if you're trying to get into Savage, I mean, there's always that. I think the 09S's are pretty puggable right now, if you know the prevailing strats, and just take some Google searches and maybe some novice network pokes, or finding a good Discord to ask questions in. So good luck.
Yeah, good luck. I can't give you better. We can't give you better advice without knowing where you are. Don't re-roll is my advice, because I've seen so many people are like, I'm level 28 or level 50 and I have to re-roll to do whatever. In a month, we're all going to be relearning.
Yeah, exactly.
Our jobs,
I almost
right?
wanted to say just wait a month before you come back.
Well, no, get in and play around. And honestly, for the most part, there's a few assholes in the dungeons, but bring it. Equip yourself as much as you can with gear. Read your tooltips. Punch a dummy. Know whether you're a healer, a tank, or a DPS, and just get in there. Just do some roulettes. Take advice of anyone who gives you helpful, constructive advice. Anyone who is a fucking troll, just ignore them. Yeah, but finding help would be good too. Can a returning player get put in the novice network? I can't remember. But if you know anyone who plays this game, see if you can find a way to get in a link shell, a crossroll link shell, a free company, to get some actual advice for your level. So I'm not sure how helpful that was, but the game, it shouldn't be that hard to get back into it. This game sends us back constantly to run old stuff. The current event is to go run old stuff. You could probably remember and rearrange your bars just doing some of the low-level dungeons, doing, Palace of the Dead, that kind of thing. So, and welcome back, also.
Mm-hmm. Welcome.
All right, Adam Ross gave us a tweet at GTFFXFE. Here's my take on how to improve the Moogle Treasure Trove event. Keep the prices mostly where they are, maybe adjust a few like maps. 2, increase tombstone gains in MSQ 8-mans to 4, keep the others. 3, don't make this a limited event. And 4, change items monthly. I do agree that the drops are too low. I agree that the content you can farm to do this is too few. And I can agree, honestly, I think the prices are too high for a limited time event. This event starts today. Right now it's 5/31/2019, and the event is over at the end of the next month. So if I knew it was not a limited time event, I probably would just do like Garo, wait until I heard there was an end date, try to get a couple things, and then just give up and be mad.
Yeah.
But I kind of see if it was a permanent event that they just change the items in.
And I don't know. I think we're getting that though, in a sense, with the new fate system that are going to give us tokens or some sort of currency. That's not to say that those items will be changed, but if they wanted to build that into a system that there was changing, I feel like this community would bitch if, certain wood was only offered every Wednesday or Fire's Day or something like Final Fantasy XI had.
But this seems to be all old stuff, right?
Yeah.
Stuff most of us who have been playing since day one either already have or could get with relative ease.
Sure.
Right, so I'm already completely baffled why the list of items you can receive is what it is. But, I don't know. And I'm honestly surprised that last year, like what was the minion that you could get just from Gil? Taoist?
Okay.
Right, the Moogle. And it was the Scarf of Wondrous Wit. We were so mad they let you just buy with Gil.
Oh, yes.
Wasn't it?
Yes.
Remember? Right? So you could buy those for Gil off the Moogle last year. This year they're making you do work to get some list of items and making you run super old content to get it.
Right.
So, honestly, this event, in my opinion, is all kind of fucked. But I like your ideas. Increased tombstone gains. I wouldn't have so much of a problem, maybe farming up 100 tombstones for earrings. Maybe extending the event or making it happen yearly or every 2 years. Like maybe this event only came out right before an expansion, right? But if we knew that 2 years ago's items would be in this one, maybe we could hang on to the tombstones, whatever. I don't know. But I agree that this event has some issues. I am not super in love with it at all,
Yeah, I was having a discussion with my Cinnamon Riesling about when the itinerant Moogles usually appear, and I thought it was closer to the Rising, and she was arguing with me, but I'm looking this up. In 2015, they showed up in September.
It was during one of the live letters or the all-night
The one
streams
in
of
2018 was definitely tied into the anniversary broadcast, which is in September 18th. So usually they're in the fall. That's why I was surprised to see them this time of the year.
Well, and we actually expected the Make It Rain campaign to be in May, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but whatever. It's a weird event.
Yeah.
But anyway, Adam Ross goes on with another message to say this will change it from a grind to a perk of running dungeons/roulettes. You can check every few weeks and be pleasantly surprised at what you can buy instead of being frustrated that you've got X more runs to do. Nothing you want to buy on the list? Well, wait a few weeks and check again. So, I get it. I'm still salty, Ruby. I'm still salty at some of the items being on the list being stuff that only a minion, only a fisherman can get.
Yeah.
It's not hurting anyone. If you want it, level fisherman.
They should make that stuff sellable on the market, though, for those fishermen.
No!
Make bukus.
Well, I did make a lot of money selling the assassin beta fish back in the day. I would stand in Mordona, wait for the weather, fish them up, and sell them. So, all right. We tweeted out, we're doing our homework today, reading and watching all this great 5.0 info. Did your favorite job change to your liking? We get some responses. Nick B said astrologian changes are wonky. Not super thrilled. Still not enough to keep me to not level it first. So Neobari is still going to level astrologian first. Yep. Cloudy. Ooh, that's our Cloudy. Samurai is looking pretty nice aside from the level 80 ability. Dungeon AoE is looking like it'll be hilariously fun in 5.10. 5.0. That's good. I'm happy if things look fun to people.
Yeah.
I think when I watch the Machinist and Dragoon parts of the video, I'm like, that shit looks fun.
It does look fun.
Right? All right, last call. Any shout-outs? Ruby, take this one.
Hey, so we've been working with Work to Game, and we're talking about this event. Tentatively, it's called Gather to Game, and that's happening June 20th. Just this coming month at Nerdvana in Frisco, Texas. So I'll be there. The guys from Work to Game, Brian and Chris, will be there. We're going to gather it together and have a drink and hang out for anyone who wants to go. More info will be coming. Be on the lookout. I think he's got a poll up for like a head count if you want to check the Twitter, or if you want to send a message to either us on Twitter or the Work to Game crew. Give them a heads up. Let them know so we can kind of figure out how many may be showing up. That's at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. I think that's on a Thursday, June 20th. So stay tuned. We'll have more information as it comes. I'm actually looking forward to it. The venue's cool. It's a cool little bar. It's pretty accessible if you're in the Texas area. If you're in this area, I think it'll be a good time. They have some good drinks. Good drinks.
I'm in Minnesota, so it's hard.
Come. Yelta.
But
You're invited.
I know. First of all, I love the Gather to Game. That sounds like it should be its own show or podcast or blog or something. Guys, you have a place called Nirvana? Mm-hmm. Nerdvana? That's awesome.
Yeah. Pretty sweet.
All right. I expect hourly reports on how it's going when you're there.
For sure.
All right, and just a reminder, Mefina Madness is still going on. It's Score for a Cause. It is a fundraiser. And let's see. Let me just look. So the Gather Together podcast, we are sponsoring the Alamigo Royal Griffins. Mm-hmm. So if you want to support us and raise us up, you should go donate for the Alamigo Royal Griffins. I have to admit, I have not. Every time any of these events are, it's like, oh, I'm going to be visiting my mom, or I'm going to be visiting my husband, or I'm going to be visiting my sister. We do have, tomorrow, round 2. May 31st is Friday.
Yep.
The semifinals are June 8th. The closing ceremony is June 14th. The finals are June 15th. So there are still events to get to. I do have did you ever make a character over there?
I've got a character, but I'd have to jump and drink a potion of get me there-ness.
I did that. I did the potion and the level jump. I quested around till I could have flying, and then I never went there. But no, there's and the fundraiser is really for a good cause. It's to Write Love on Our Arms, a nonprofit movement dedicated to presenting hope and finding help for people struggling with depression, addiction, self-injury, and suicide. So I urge all of our listeners to go and donate in any way you can. But if you want to support us, do it in the name of the Alamigo Royal Griffins.
That's right.
That's right. All right. By the way, our beckon contest is over by the time you listen to this. We have some entries. We will choose one, and they will get their choice of a minion. So I think we already have an idea for the next contest.
I think
it's benchmark. It's benchmark related.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We're twisted fucks, so we want it might be about making your most, I can't think of the word. I had the word earlier. It's your most disturbing character.
Oh, yeah.
Your most disturbing character on the benchmark. So I'm thinking a minion. I think we need to give away a minion for that. So we will solidify those contest rules.
So next week we'll say the name of the winner of this contest, the beckon contest, and then we'll have a new contest to roll out.
We'll announce a new contest. So, all right.
Love it.
Yay. Love it. It's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You can find links to all of our episodes and blog posts on our website, gtffxiv.com. While you're there, please leave us a comment. And if you'd like to, you can support us by clicking the donation button. You can find us on Twitter at GTFFXIV. You can email us at gtffxiv@gmail.com. Please rate us. Personal plugs, Ruby.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Rubicon Vale, RubiconVale.
And you can find me on Twitter at Yelta Sumasu, YELTASUMASU. As always, thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.